Hello and welcome back to another episode of Only a Bag, an Italy travel podcast. I'm Nathaniel Mellor.
And I'm Darcy Melton.
And we are recording this fairly late in the day, so if we sound sleepy, it is because we are hopped up on coffee already. I'm saying it's slipping, and we're past nap time.
Yes.
We don't really have nap time, but there's always that mid-afternoon lull where just sort of you just power through the rest of the day. We're past that point, so we're sort of hopefully in the upswing. But if we sound tired in this episode, it's because it was such a beautiful day, and it felt like a crime to not spend all of it outside.
So it was one of the first warm, truly warm days that we've had. I mean, there was still a chilly breeze, but we had a lovely lunch on the balcony, a little coffee, and now we're here.
So if we sound a little bit, euphoric, it's because of that. Yeah. We're also tired. One of the two. And today's headlines will be on today's episode of Headlines. It's amazing. I'm so sorry. I'm not doing this on purpose. I apologize. Today's episode will be on headlines. Specifically, it's going to be things that are opening or are newly renovated, newly opened in Italy. Things that, again, might affect like a small portion of your trip in a good way, in the sense of like, oh, I didn't realize we could see that. What a fun opportunity. And we thought it'd be kind of interesting just to go ahead and give a quick rundown of here's a bunch of stuff that is, I think, especially now that we're coming into spring, this is clearly when a lot of the country is kind of getting into getting used to the tourism again, I guess. So they're just sort of like, okay, we got to get all these things ready. So a lot of things are opening, and we'll be talking about most of those in this episode.
Yeah.
But before we get started, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who has been following us and who has been leaving us reviews. We do really appreciate it. It helps us get seen by other people, and it helps us grow in this Italy podcast space, which I honestly don't know how many podcasts there are, but we're very excited to be part of it, and we're really excited that you have all found us. If you'd like to read any of our articles, you can check out onlyabag.com, where we have tons of articles. Some of them are highly specific, and some of them are just general on different aspects of Italy that are kind of designed for you to be able to read and then bookmark or save or internalize if you are somebody who has a good memory, and kind of keep in mind for your trip to Italy. You can also reach out and send us a message if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or as we talked about in the last episode, we thanked all of Canada for sending their goodwill ambassadors. So if you're from if you're from Canada and you just want to say you're welcome, you can do so on our website. You can also do so on our Instagram at Only a Bag Podcast. It is not a defunct Instagram. We promise. We do use it. It's just we mostly use it as a messaging service, I think, at this point, and less as a just a social media, because honestly, what do you just post pictures of Italy? This is ridiculous. Like, there are other people who do that much better than us.
Yes.
So we don't feel the need to do it worse than somebody else, I feel. But it's there, and you can absolutely send us a message and we will respond. It just looks defunct. Last but not least, if you would like to support us, you can absolutely do so, and we would deeply appreciate it. If you are booking a trip to Italy, whether it's a hotel, a flight, a tour around Italy, you can use any of our affiliate links. We are not representatives of the company, but we are affiliates of them, which just means we receive a small commission when you use our links, when you book through our links specifically. Likewise, if you'd like to directly support us with a small donation, you can buy us a coffee, ko-fi, and you can find us on Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/onlyabag, where you can make a direct donation. And with that being said, we really do appreciate everybody who has been donating and who has been using our affiliate links to help support the podcast and the channel, I think, the podcast channel. And it helps us, I don't know, make more of these, because it's not, I guess, about the money, but the money don't hurt. I don't know.
I mean, it helps us buy mics and different equipment that we need.
Tremendous, because then it feels, absolutely, like we can sound better.
Yeah,
like exactly. One of these days I want to buy those things you put on the wall.
Those like puffy things, the puffy sound things.
Those seem like really, I don't know how important they are, but like every like starting out YouTuber has them like behind them. And I'm like, is that a thing? I'm looking around the house where we can put them. I'm already putting them in. So, or we can get one of those booths, not an actual booth, but like, the little like thing.
One day we'll have a podcast studio.
There we go.
That'll be
That'd
great.
Be nice.
So thank you all so much. It really means so much that you follow us, leave reviews, contribute to us financially, contact us. All of it means so much to us. Thank you so much.
And that you find us helpful. I just want a big shout out. I'm happy that you find some of this information helpful, because that's cool. Sometimes it feels like we're just like, I don't know if anybody's going to find it useful, but if one of you do, then it's really cool, because then it kind of makes it all worth it.
Exactly.
I don't know, just exciting to be able to do something for somebody else.
Yeah.
So I guess jumping on into this week's episode.
Yeah.
I guess first off, we can also say massive shout out to the Olympics that are now over. They've been over for, I think, a week almost now.
Sure.
5 days. I think they've been over since the 22nd they ended.
22nd. Yes, 22nd.
So they've been over since 4 days. Italy came in fourth with gold, but third overall medals, which is very exciting. I think the United States was first. The United States was second. Norway was first. And shout out to Brazil winning their first ever gold medal at the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Which is amazing. I think I can't remember which. I know it's in skiing. I can't remember which skiing, but that was interesting because I think Switzerland pretty much like won all the other ones, and then Brazil sort of got like one of them, and it's very exciting for Brazil.
And Haiti sent their first oh goodness, what does he do?
Cross country skiing, I think you said.
Yes,
it's not the same as a bobsled team, but it's very close. That is a fun reference to Cool Runnings,
great movie,
and also the actual Jamaican bobsled team.
Yes, most importantly, yeah,
not just the movie.
Yeah. So what's his name? His name is something. Sorry.
This is you don't get this kind of information everywhere, you guys. Okay, this high quality, well sourced information only comes from one place.
I just wanted to say that his name is Stevenson Savart, and he was the first cross country skier from Haiti.
That is amazing.
I'm always just befuddled by people who compete in sports at such a high level, or just do sports at all, where they can't like practice that sport in their home environment. Like, I don't even know how that works. Anyways, absolutely wild.
I don't know. I've seen Cool Runnings for the Jamaican bobsled one. So I was like, is it just wheels on a otherwise similar / toboggan? I don't think they're called toboggans either. I think they're called something else.
I don't know. I don't know sports.
Me either. Luge. That's what we call it. I don't think they're I think the sport's called luging. Luging?
Sure.
That can't be right. So we're going to just go ahead and jump into the second thing, because we are not allowed to talk about sports anymore. I just want to say that Nathaniel
recently learned about, what's it called? Curling?
Yeah.
That they're not just sweeping little bits of snow out of the way.
I really, we saw a video and they're melting the ice in front friction of the thing to make it really smooth. I always thought, I don't know why, I thought there'd be ice chips thrown up by the first or second people who throw the stones. So then you sweep the ice chips out of the way, or if necessary into the way, if you're like, oh my God, that is going way too fast. So you throw some dust in front of it. I didn't realize the whole point was to make
slick up the surface.
To slick up the surface. That's I thought that was really cool. Sports again. Yeah, man. If it's I'm not great with sports, y'all. I apologize.
And shout out to the U.S. women's hockey team who won gold.
Winning gold.
They seem super cool.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Again, sports. Amazing.
Sports.
Love it. Don't understand it, but I love it.
Sports.
Yeah.
So I guess for Italy headlines that will affect you, in no real particular order, we have them sort of ordered, but these are going to be, I think, ordered more just by...
they're not ranked or
They're
anything.
not ranked, yeah. These are not ranked of importance. It's just going to be mostly by cities and areas. Starting with Rome, just because I thought it was kind of interesting. There is a terrace, I think it's called Belvedere in Italian, Belvedere.
Belvedere, yeah.
But it's a terrace near the Colosseum. Has reopened for the first time after 12 years following the creation of Metro Line C. Apparently they closed it because I guess the views were terrible, but also there was some structural work underneath they didn't want it to collapse and hurt people. So it's just, it really is just straight up a terrace. It's nothing I'm saying this just curb your expectations. Curb your enthusiasm. Setting some expectations. It's just a terrace, but it is really beautiful. It has a view of the Colosseum, has a view of the Foro Italico. They've added in some potted. Darcy's looking into the air.
No, I'm just trying to understand where it is.
So there are a couple terraces and green spaces around. If you come out of the Colosseum subway stop, the one that already exists, Line B, not Line C, the new one. If you go outside of Line B, you can actually go above the metro stop. There's a little park terrace area. Yeah, it's really beautiful. It's something in the summer. It's probably a little bit hotter than you might be wanting to. In the sense of it's not that many trees around. There's some trees around, but it's a lovely place for a picnic. It's a lovely place to have a drink while looking at the sunset near the Colosseum. It's a really nice vibe, as the kids these days say. And that whole stretch is a park, and you can always there's a couple little terrace areas that you can go on. One of them is this terrace, and that is open to the public now. It's been open to the public before, but again, it was closed 12 years ago. and it's once again reopened. It is called Belvedere I'm looking at this up. Cederna, or Cederna Cederna if you're American.
Belvedere Cederna.
Belvedere Cederna.
Or Belvedere
Cederna.
Cederna. Okay.
And it's funny. So on Google Maps, there's actually photos added like 20 hours ago because it just opened up, I think, yesterday or today.
Oh, amazing.
So there's brand new photos just added. And it's, I mean, really, again, like curb your enthusiasm. It's just a cute little spot, but they have park benches. It's just another little spot to, if you are tired and kind of want to get off your feet around the Colosseum, it is a very cute spot to feel like you're still in the area without feeling like you're in the madhouse of the area.
Cool.
I do think, though, obviously in the summer, it'll probably be slammed with people. Just keep that in mind if you're coming in the summer. If you're coming now, you don't have to worry about that. In other Rome news, vaguely related, I think, because it's in the same area around the Colosseum, they, being the Rome government, cut down 12 of the large umbrella pines.
That's
in the last month, basically. It sucks tremendously. And they are, so it's good news, bad news situation. The bad news was one of them had fallen. Nobody was hurt, but it did scare people because a giant tree fell.
Yeah, they're massive.
They are massive. And they did a sort of tensile test on a lot of the other ones in this area and found out that most of them were about to break, well past their sort of, they last for a very long time in nature. A few hundred years, but in a city, in an urban environment, they only last about 100 years. And they're coming up. They were planted in the 20s, and they are now in the 20s.
Is it because of, I mean, I'm not a tree scientist, and I actually don't know the word for that, but...
Arborist?
Is that scientists of trees?
Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe,
arborist.
right?
Is that because whenever trees are planted in an urban environment, like the concrete and stones and everything inhibit their root growth and things like that?
And that was basically it. A lot of it is damage from nearby streets. So the people driving compact the roots and make them less strong. There are like nearby structures under the road just stone structures physically prevent them from spreading out their roots. So apparently trees like this do have a very wide root.
That makes sense. I mean, because if you look
structure.
at their canopy, the top of the tree, it's very wide.
So
they
can't, like, it's been super windy recently in Italy specifically. So that's part of the reason this happened. They actually Rome closed a couple of its parks for a few days because it was so windy, not raining or anything. It was just super windy, and they were nervous that trees would come down. Mm-hmm. So again, what happens is that sometimes these are just the roots get damaged or compacted or not as wide as the tree needs them to be. So if the weather's okay, it's not really much of an issue because they're not going to come down typically apparently on their own. But according to the environmental minister of Rome, these had just basically been sort of mistreated, for lack of a better word, like just sort of like, again, we come from a city, Savannah, Georgia, shout out, filled with trees, undergoing a very similar issue. It's in an urban environment. The live oak that Savannah is famous for only lasts, I think, about 150 years, but close to 300 or 400 years out in the middle of nowhere, where they're not getting compacted by mostly by concrete or cars driving over them. Mm-hmm. So that's always a big issue that Savannah is now going through because we're hitting the end of the urban lifespan for a lot of these trees. And so it's leading to them being replanted. But, these did take minimum, like 50 or 60 at least to get to like the nice canopy stage. Mm-hmm. But also people are kind of wondering, like, are we just going to do this again in 150 years? Like, we're not going to, what about not doing that? What about figuring out something else? So actually that is, going to the good news of this, that is something they are trying to do in Rome. Not only are they replanting these with stone pine, I don't know if that is a different type of pine tree or if it's the same kind, but it's called stone pine. They're also planting pomegranates as well as a variety of other species, mostly just kind of like they're using this as an opportunity to sort of beautify the area. Cool. Plant trees and plant things that do better in urban environments that also live a while. Because as we've mentioned in the past, there's no shade and
there's so little green space as well.
There's so little green space apart from the Borgo,
Villa Borghese.
The Villa Borghese. It's just there's very little green space that you can kind of feel like, oh, I'm out in nature. It's all stone and cobblestone. So this being said, hopefully this will kind of lead to a bit of a change in Rome. But yes, and at least they're also replanting them because I think they recognize the importance of them, not just for trees because trees are important, but because a lot of people do come to Rome to see the kind of the classic skyline. And it is different without the trees, you
I
know?
bet.
So I think they're
Wow.
like, oh, we kind of do need them. Like without them, it's just, it doesn't look as specific to Rome, if that makes sense. So that is a big, yeah, change.
Yeah, I'm glad they're realizing the importance of them. That's good.
Eventually, right? I mean, it took a while, but it's fine. We'll get there. And then I think the last Rome specific note is a very tiny one, but I just thought it was cool because I think this week they are starting creation of 4 new metro lines, and it's not metro lines. I'm sorry, metro stations for Metro Line C.
Okay.
These are this is so unimportant, y'all. Like, trust me, this is, you could skip this part if you want, which I know is like not that, but it's just, I thought it was interesting because it's starting today,
Okay.
and they won't be done until roughly 2037. So
Okay.
at least 11 years.
11 years?
So again, really unimportant, but I thought it was kind of cool. It also might, on an actual genuine level, it might create a bit of, I know that the Metro Line C and then the stops around the Colosseum had just created, but essentially, scaffolding and fencing and just machinery and, things for the last 15, 20 years. So you might see this around other parts of Rome. One of them is Ottaviano, which is already an existing stop. It's the Metro Line A goes to Ottaviano, which if you've ever been to the Vatican or if you are planning on going to the Vatican and using the metro, then you will be using the Ottaviano stop. The other one, actually, I believe you mentioned Vittorio Emanuele in the Off the Beaten Path episode for the Alchemist's Door. They are getting their own Line C stop there as well. I believe specifically this one's going to be the Chiesa Nuova, the new church stop. Another one is at the Piazza Pia, which is near Castel Sant'Angelo. I believe that little small piazza out in front is there. So now instead of going to Ottaviano, you can also go to Piazza Pia if you would like to go to the Vatican.
Okay.
And then last but not least is the Mazzini, Mazzini stop, which is kind of north of the Vatican, south of the Ponte Milvio, kind of near Maxi, which is a modern art museum.
Okay.
You and I have actually been through there because there is a bus change around there from when we house sat. We would use this bus change, but it's not something that if you're listening to this podcast, it's unlikely you'll ever use this even in 10 years unless something interesting shows up there.
Yeah, that seems much more, unless you're going to Maxi, the Contemporary Art Museum, Modern Art Museum, that it's more for people living in Rome.
And that's what it is. And kind of because there are no, essentially if you imagine the current subway system is kind of like an X or a plus sign, this would go sort of perpendicular to the other 2 lines. So this kind of, while it hits some of the stops, it does try to basically create some new territory.
Is there are no like subway stations that far north, are there?
No, because the farthest one is
tram goes up pretty far, and then the buses.
and the Piazza del Popolo, I think, is one of the ones that goes up the highest, which
Yeah,
is now
okay.
it's called the Flaminio stop.
Which is not very north.
Nope,
Far north.
no, and then it
That's
kind of
like the
goes
center of Rome
over,
almost.
I believe, west from there.
Okay.
Towards Ottaviano. So this will be kind of, again, this is in 10 years. So who knows who'll be around in 10 years. But yeah, this will just be, it's just thought it's a kind of interesting point of news that it's basically because it's starting this week, the construction. It might be sort of low key, but it also might be something, I don't know if they're starting underground or if they're starting above ground. I assume they're starting kind of both at the same time because they have to drill the tunnel as well as create the stations themselves. So that being said, you might just see some extra noise or extra construction site equipment type thing. It might just be like Ottaviano might be more of a nightmare to be around. So that being said, we hope that it isn't.
That's actually something to keep in mind if you're going to be like staying near the Vatican or something during your trip. That construction noise might be happening.
100, actually, yeah, genuinely, it might be. Really, we've stayed near construction noise and it's just awful.
Yeah, it will be happening where all of those new stops are going in. But I feel like that's an area where a lot of people may be staying.
So do you want to tell us about the Lover's Arch?
Oh, yeah, this is just a quick note that a lot of y'all have probably seen in the news. It's been in international news. The Lover's Arch, the Archeo degli Innamorati, collapsed on Valentine's Day. And this was a natural arch off the coast of a town called Sant'Andrea, which is near Lecce. And it was a giant arch in the water. It essentially went like from a cliff on the main part of Italy off into the water, and it collapsed on Valentine's Day. Real bummer. Everybody was sad.
I love that. I mean, I love the way you say, real bummer, everyone's sad. More at 6.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I
No, but
don't
it
have
is
anything uplifting.
It's unfortunately too. It's going by what the experts say. It is just a sign of the erosion, coastal erosion.
Exactly, yeah.
The storms have been getting worse. It happened after a lot of rain.
Mm-hmm.
This part of Puglia does not experience tons of rain. It's a very dry place typically, and apparently it's gotten tons and tons and tons of rain, which is again atypical, and
And a
caused it
lot
to sort
of
of
cyclones happening because of
yeah
like the
yeah.
water temperatures rising and weather patterns are shifting, creating a lot more intense storms over there.
Which is again kind of rare because it really, I mean,
Yeah.
it is a wild point. Like if you ever look at it on Google Maps, if you guys are ever bored just going through like that area, like Puglia, Bari, Lecce on Google Maps, it's just an interesting area. Like just it seems just a very arid, dry area that like is not at all like in the same country as Tuscany, for example, but it is.
Yeah, it is interesting.
It's where they shot a lot of Western movies. In case if you're spaghetti westerns, as they were so, I assume it was a term of endearment.
I hope so, because it's a cute term. I hope it's not an
But
offensive
it's
term.
westerns shot. I think specifically those are Italian westerns, but then sometimes for actual Western movies they would shoot them in Italy if necessary,
And
because
that was in Puglia and some in Basilicata.
yeah, because it looked so much like the American West. So that was kind of cool.
And it really does. It's cool.
So moving to the next, headline is the Garden of Ninfa, Ninfa, will open again in the spring. It typically is open throughout the year and it closes, I believe, in November. It's a cute thing, if you will. It, again, is not something. It's not like you don't come over to Italy for this, But if you are in Rome and you're thinking of a day trip, and you like nature, and we've talked about how Rome does have a kind of a lack of nature or aspects to it. There is south of Rome. There's the Garden of Ninfa. It is a 8 hectares large. I mean, it's privately owned, but they then open up to the public. It's a ticketed thing. I think 15 euros and 75 cents for a ticket, but it was called the most romantic garden in the world by New York Times, which I thought was kind of interesting. I'm like, oh, okay, love that.
Of all the gardens, wow.
Yeah,
We should go.
we really should though.
And it's an English style garden,
It's
right?
an English-style garden. It has a river, the River Ninfa, running through it, and it kind of pools into a lake, and then it pools back out into a river. They have a bunch of species of water birds, a bunch of species of plants.
Cool.
It just seems like a really beautiful day to spend the day if you again kind of want to just get, like, if you are from a place that has a lot of nature and you feel a little overwhelmed, especially after places like Venice or after Florence or anything like that, and you're just like, I could kill just to see a tree. Then it's a lovely spot to kind of just spend the day, or even honestly the afternoon if you want. But yeah, that is south of Rome, Garden of Ninfa, which is opening again on the first day of spring, March 21st.
Beautiful.
Thought that was cool. The next, I guess, moving away from Rome in general, is Florence. Giotto's bell tower. Giotto, Giotto. I don't really know how we'd say that in English. Is this Giotto?
No, we said Giotto, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or Giotto, yeah.
Because we say Giovanni rather than Giovanni, so it's maybe Giotto's bell tower.
Makes him sound like he runs a pizza restaurant.
He might. He retired from being a bell tower to run a pizza restaurant, and you've seen it. If you've seen pictures of Florence, you've seen the bell tower. Despite the fact it doesn't have a very famous name, it's the bell tower right next to the Duomo of Florence. So there is the Duomo, giant building with a dome. Right in front of that, there is the baptismal font or pool of somebody.
The Battistero? I think it's just called the baptismal font, is what we would say in English.
Okay. And then in front, it has a gold door, beautiful gold door. And then next to that is the bell tower. It is commonly considered a better place if you are going to pay money either at the Duomo or the bell tower to climb to the top. Most people recommend you pay money to climb to the top of the bell tower because then you get to see the dome. If you climb to the top of the dome, you don't get to see the dome, you just get to see the bell tower. And it's not as beautiful a view. Like, arguably, it's kind of like you climb to the top of the ugliest building in town to see the view because it's such a better view. But if you see, it's like if you climb the beautiful town. Yeah, you get it. Y'all get it. I'm making sense, I think. Point is, they are renovating that starting on March 9th of 2026. It will be done in sections. They're going to start at the top of the bell tower and move down in sections. So as soon as they're finished renovating, their plan as of now is to, when they finish renovating one section, is to move down a section and then to unveil the top section. or the previously finished section.
Okay.
So
Meaning
essentially,
they're renovating the outside or the inside of this?
the outside. It is
Okay.
basically decades of car pollution,
Grime
smog,
and stuff.
grime.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it.
So what they're doing is cleaning, restoring, renovating, and it's going to start at the top and move down. And as they finish, they're going to expose it so people can see, rather than it being like all at once, this big unveiling.
That's cool. I like that.
So it doesn't kind of ruin the view as much. It just means that parts of the bell tower will be covered in scaffolding and sort of tarps. However, they have remained adamant that the inside of the bell tower will remain open if you so choose to climb to the top of it.
Cool. Okay. That was going to be my question.
Yes. So they and I say they claim it. It's just hard to know because this is Italy. Things happen, and they absolutely might change their mind because this is Italy. Things happen.
I imagine too, with any kind of renovation project, like something might go wrong and they might have to close it temporarily, but it's nice that they're going to try to keep it open.
Yeah, because I think when they renovated part of the Duomo recently, like the last 5-6 years, I think they were trying to do it also by section, so you could see it happening rather than just everything getting covered and then everything getting uncovered, 4 years later.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be, working with, like, basically not ruining people's, respectfully, nobody goes to Florence to see the bell tower, but it's there and it's cool to see, and it is just a bummer when it's covered entirely with
I
scaffolding.
bet it would be cool to see the cleaning of it, like the comparison between the griminess and the clean, new, renovated bit.
You know how there's like those people who have like Instagram or TikTok accounts, all
Yeah.
they do is like they thatch roofs or they make I'm really hoping that one of them has like the TikTok account for like I restore old buildings or something, and it's just,
It's just them and Giotto's
with
bell
a
tower.
with a toothbrush or something. I don't know. I honestly don't know how it works either, so I would be fascinated to learn. Last but not least for my headlines is I'm sure y'all have actually heard of it because it's all over Facebook. I think it was on your Facebook and it was all over
Yeah, I
Facebook.
saw it on social media more than news sites necessarily.
Yeah, the fire in Naples. It was at the historic theater of Sannazaro. I don't actually know where the stress goes there. If it's Sannazaro,
No, not Z. Sannazaro,
Sannazaro.
I think.
So
I don't know.
maybe in the middle. You could put it wherever you like. Sannazaro, Sannazaro. It is a small theater in the Chiaia district. You might have passed by it without knowing you were passing by the theater because the outside looks like a church, because it was at one point a church before being renovated in the 1800s to become a theater for the Napolitano bourgeoisie, which that was kind of interesting. It's a fun little treat for y'all. But yeah, it's a 19th century theater in the Chiaia district, and I can't remember exactly when, it was about a week ago, February 17th. It's in the notes. Beautiful. Beautiful. February 17th, it caught fire because of a nearby apartment building. It apparently had an electrical fire. Again, unbeknownst to everybody. Like it wasn't like an active fire, it was just something sparked, and the interior of this theater caught fire. Unfortunately, the domed ceiling of the theater collapsed everything went up in flames. The entire interior was wood and velvet, and that was all burned away entirely. Thankfully, very few people were hurt. Only 4 people went to the hospital with smoke inhalation, but nobody seriously injured. And I think 22 families were evacuated from nearby buildings. However, it looks like by and large, the fire department was able to keep the blaze contained to the theater and then eventually put out the blaze without anybody obviously dying or it spreading to nearby buildings. Because again, this area is, wooden buildings that are, obviously stone
And
buildings,
they're all
but like wooden
attached.
supports.
Like it's not like there's space between each building. It's all essentially continuous, which is why I think it caught so quickly in the theater.
No, exactly. And it's a bit of a shame because it isn't, I don't know. It's always a shame, I think, when something like that catches fire, but it was an active theater. That's the worst part, is they were in the middle of their seasonal run of the Café Chantant, My World. Café Chantant being a singing cafe. It's a style of theater originating in France and then spreading to Spain and Italy and other countries. But I believe it's a 19th century style. It's basically, it's a lot like the other type of theater where there is
Like cabaret, like where
Thank you. It's
you're
like
having
cabaret
like dinner or drinks and stuff, and then
without the political sort of undertones.
Cabaret has political undertones?
Apparently so. So there's Café Chantant, which is just fun comedy, jokes, laughter. It's a little bit risque. It's a little bit, like, ooh, maybe this isn't okay for, before 7 o'clock in the
Yeah,
afternoon.
like a little bit taboo, kind of fun, yeah.
And then apparently Cabaret is the same thing, but there would often be, it would often be poking fun at a sort of ruling party at the time, or potentially
Really?
like a royal family or something like that. It was always, there's always a political connotation to it that Café Chantant did not have. But this is basically known as the sort of last sort of bulwark of Café Chantant in
Wow.
Naples, as well as specifically Napolitano comedy in a theater sense.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate too, because I mean, I know that Naples itself has a very old history of, well, theater and opera. And this is one of it had made it kind of through the cinema era. Like it was a cinema for a very short period, this theater, because people were just sort of not going out to see, I guess, I don't know, singing shows.
Sure, yeah, movies were just more popular.
Exactly. So now, but then it converted again and unfortunately, again, burned down the other week.
Wow.
So there is
It
a
clearly
rebuild.
was really beloved. So that's good to know that it will be rebuilt.
No, it's
Okay.
it seems to be a core part of the neighborhood. It seems to be something that really did hurt people in a very like emotional way.
Yeah,
Thankfully,
absolutely.
not physical.
Right.
But it's like the mayor and everybody's like, we need to figure out like where the money's coming from and how it's going to be rebuilt and who's, like we're already, we're not going to let this turn into something that just ends up as because also too, even though the stone structure is standing, it would probably be something considered, condemned if
right.
not restored. So I think that's also a fear, is that like if we don't immediately start trying to rebuild it, it will fall down on its own, and that'll be even worse because, again, it's attached to three other apartment buildings, and it's in the middle of a really packed street. Via Chiaia is a massively packed street with other shops and restaurants and things. So yeah, that was unfortunately, I apologize, a bit of a sadder note to end on, but if you do happen to be in Naples this year, and honestly probably for the next few years, you will know Via Chiaia is just, we've talked about it before, it's kind of a street with a bit of shopping and restaurants, and it's a more upscale neighborhood for sure in terms of, again, this is the bourgeoisie sort of theater. But it's something that you and I walked by like 30 times when we stayed there just recently. Again, without knowing it, because it looks like a church on the outside.
I know, which is a bummer because I totally would have wanted to go to one of the shows.
Had I known
Sounds
it was a
amazing.
theater and not a
And what is the kind of theater?
Café Chantant.
Café Chantant. That sounds like my kind of theater.
I know, singing cafe or
Seems
singing
like- yeah,
just like
amazing.
having a bit of a dinner and somebody's just belting out something
I love it.
comedy. Everyone's laughing and you're just sitting there like, I don't know, is it a joke?
Yeah, because I don't speak Napolitano.
Yeah.
But I think I would have had fun. So I'm glad that there's going to be such an effort to restore it, and that no, it doesn't seem like anybody was actually in the building when it caught fire, right? But people were.
It looks like nearby apartment buildings is where people had smoke inhalation. So nobody's in the building. It doesn't look like arson, which is also good. It doesn't look like it was nefarious. Again, I think that's like better than it being an accident, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's better that it wasn't nefarious. It's better it was an accident
Yes.
than something nefarious. And this is all simply to say, again, if you happen to be in Naples, in that neighborhood, because I know in the past we have suggested people stay in Chiaia if you would like something a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more in line with what you've come to expect and seen in the rest of Italy, then you might just notice that there is construction happening, or there might be, I don't know what they're going to be doing, if they're going to put a fencing around it, if they're going to do, I don't know how it's going to be affecting the rest of the street. So that is just something to keep in mind. It might be nothing. It might be, if you are staying there, just to kind of maybe even find the point on a map, because if they do start construction on it fairly soon, it sounds like they want to go ahead and get it restored as soon as humanly possible. It sounds like some demolition work will be necessary. So if you do happen to be staying there around May, June, July this year, then it might be something where it's a little bit louder than you will want it to be.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So maybe Chiaia is not the place to stay until it's over, if you are a light sleeper and if you happen to be staying right next to it. And that is the Teatro Sannazaro, if you are looking it up on Google Maps. And that is all for headlines today. We hope that these are helpful if you are traveling anytime in the next, this year, I guess, honestly. But a lot of these will be, again, ongoing projects, like the construction for the metro stops, like the reconstruction for the theater. And some of these are just going to be just sort of generic, like, again, the sort of, yeah, if you want to see the garden, it is open. If you want to see the terrace, it's open. If you are planning to put Giotto's bell tower in your photo, don't
Yeah.
plan on that.
Instead, to go up to the top of the bell tower and then take pictures from there.
Exactly. That's the one to do. So we hope that this has been enjoyable and you have learned enough about your trip to plan around some of the things happening.
Yeah. And do we know what we're talking about next week?
We don't. It's a surprise to
Ooh,
everybody,
surprise.
us included. But we will be back next week with something interesting, I hope.
It will be interesting. It's going to be a surprise, and I'm excited.
I'm so pumped.
Okay.
We'll see you next week.
Tanti abbracci.